Hello and welcome back to FlutterFlow Academy. Today we will talk about no-code. We will specifically answer the question, what is no-code and how you can benefit from it. But to understand what no-code is, we have to understand how computers or smartphones, which are little computers, work. So how do computers work? Or better, which language do they speak? Hint, it has something to do with zeros and ones. Drum roll, it is binary. Computers understand binary, which is language consisting of zeros and ones. Now, you can imagine that just speaking in zeros and ones is quite complicated and kind of the opposite of practical. Let me give you a little example. Can you guess what this means in normal English? Hint, it is something that you say on a daily basis. As some of you might have guessed now, it is hello. You can see that each of these 6 sequences of numbers stand for a letter. This makes it extremely obvious how unpractical binary is as a language to speak or write in for us humans. If you want to understand binary really foundational, as we will not dive more into it right now, please check out the resources linked in the description, such as this guy's lecture in the CS50 course at Harvard. So, how can we make talking and therefore programming computers easier? The answer has again something to do with languages. And the answer is, ta-da, programming languages. You might recognize some of these logos. As an example, the yellow JS here stands for JavaScript. Or, which is even more important for us, Flutter, a language used to code native mobile apps. So going back to our binary example of hello, how would this now look in a programming language? Let's compare. This is the direct comparison of hello in binary and hello world in JavaScript. Looks much more simple and practical, right? Yeah, it does. But still, for someone who doesn't know how JavaScript works, the brackets, the semicolon, and everything else can be quite confusing. Therefore, it is not the perfect solution to creating software as simple as possible. And here comes no-code into the bigger picture. In no-code, you often work with so-called UI builders. There you don't write any line of code, but you visually drag, drop, and build your apps and websites. The UI builder, example given here from FlutterFlow, shows you directly what you are building and is therefore really simple and understandable for everyone to use. You literally just drag elements onto the screen. In the background, the NoCode tool produces code automatically, which would normally take you much more time to write. You realize at this point that no-code tools are really simple, but produce functional code, which you normally don't see, and therefore produces functional applications and websites. Let's visualize a summary of what we just said. For that, we will look at this graph, ranking things based on the simplicity and the functionality. This graph was conceptualized by our friends from the No-Code Advantage. Check them out in the description. In the low left corner, we have an area that is not simple and not functional. Nothing that is really used lies in this corner, therefore it is empty. Right next to that are programming languages. Depending on the languages, they are really functional, but overall not super simple. But above that, we now have another area which is the interesting part. If you can build something really simple that ranges in functionality up to a point of full apps, it is something that brings a lot of benefits with it. And this area is no-code. You have a variety of different no-code tools that are more or less functional, with FlutterFlow being a highly functional no-code app defining new standards. So now, what is no-code? No-code is a family of tools which you can use to build things that usually require coding, and that are therefore not simple to create. There are different types of no-code tools. We have automation tools like Zapier, website builders like Wix, even no-code AIs or no-code databases like Airtable. And finally, also no-code app builders like FlutterFlow. The main benefits of no-code are that you can build fast. Since you do not write every line of code yourself, but build visually, it is much faster. Also, everyone can build because it is so simple. You can learn no-code quite fast and therefore build things yourself independently. And the combination of the two, no-code creation is cheaper than real code creation. Why should you choose no-code? Well, you are fast and independent while creating. This allows, for example, MVP validation or something similar for entrepreneurial minds. One last thing to clarify. What is no-code versus low-code? The names are pretty explanatory. The moment you write a line of code, you turn a no-code tool into a low-code tool. Tools like Webflow are therefore both. You can add custom code and therefore also use Webflow as a low-code tool. So to conclude, I can just say, if you want to create faster, cheaper, and more independently, change your life and learn how to no-code.